For more than 6 decades, the Rolling Stones have shaped the sound and attitude of rock and roll. With Mick Jagger's electrifying vocals, Keith Richards' timeless riffs, and their unstoppable energy on stage, the band built a legacy that few others have ever matched. They've released dozens of albums, filled stadiums around the globe, and written some of the most iconic songs in music history, from Gimme Shelter to Paint It Black, from Angie to I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Yet, hidden beneath this towering catalog of classics lies one track that Mick Jagger himself has spent decades trying to forget. A song that, in his own words, should never have been released. That song is Their Satanic Majesties Request's most controversial moment. Sing this all together, see what happens. A sprawling, chaotic, nearly 8-minute jam that Jagger has openly dismissed as a creative misstep. It's a rare example of the Rolling Stones stumbling during their most influential era, and it remains one of the few pieces of their discography that the band has consistently ignored, skipped, and even mocked ever since. When the Rolling Stones entered the studio in 1967, they were under enormous pressure. The Beatles had just redefined what a rock album could be with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And every band in Britain suddenly felt the need to push boundaries and prove their artistic credibility. The Stones, long seen as the rebellious, blues-driven alternative to the Beatles' melodic charm, decided to embrace the psychedelic wave that was sweeping the music world. The result was Their Satanic Majesties Request, a bold but divisive experiment filled with surreal lyrics, swirling production, and an ambition that far outstripped the band's comfort zone. At the heart of this ambitious project was Sing This All Together, See What Happens, the extended reprise of the album's opening track. Unlike the concise, riff-driven songs that made the Stones famous, this piece was essentially an improvised jam session. It featured layers of percussion, brass, mellotron, random vocal chants, and even passages of spoken word, all stitched together in a free-form structure that lacked the band's usual tightness. For many listeners, it sounded less like a song and more like a studio experiment that had gotten out of control. And for Mick Jagger, that was exactly the problem. Jagger has never minced words about how he feels regarding the track. In multiple interviews, he's described the entire Satanic Majesties album as a mistake, and Sing This All Together, See What Happens, as the worst offender. It's a load of rubbish, he once said. It just goes on and means nothing. His frustration stemmed from the fact that the song, rather than showcasing the band's strengths, exposed their weaknesses. The Stones were masters of groove, rhythm, and raw energy, but they lacked the structured precision that psychedelic compositions demanded. The result was a track that felt more like a parody of the genre than a serious contribution to it. Behind the scenes, the recording sessions were just as chaotic as the music itself. The band was heavily experimenting with drugs at the time, and their focus in the studio suffered. Producer Andrew Loog Oldham, who had guided their earlier successes, had quit before the sessions began, leaving the group without a firm hand to shape their ideas. Without that discipline, the sessions often spiraled into long, unfocused jams, and Sing This All Together, See What Happens is perhaps the purest example of that lack of direction. Even Keith Richards later admitted that the sessions were too loose, and that the band didn't know where they were going. Despite Jagger's disdain for the song, it remains a fascinating artifact of a pivotal moment in the Rolling Stones' evolution. It captures a rare instance when the band tried to compete directly with the Beatles on their own turf, and failed. And yet, that failure was essential. It taught them the importance of sticking to their core strengths and helped them refine the sound that would define their greatest work in the years to come. After Their Satanic Majesties Request, the Stones abandoned their psychedelic detour and returned to the gritty blues rock that had made them legends. Albums like Beggar's Banquet, 1968, Let It Bleed, 1969, and Sticky Fingers, 1971, would mark a triumphant creative resurgence, producing masterpieces like Sympathy for the Devil, You Can't Always Get What You Want, and Brown Sugar. In hindsight, Sing This All Together, See What Happens wasn't just a failure, it was a turning point.
Still, the song's legacy remains complicated. It is almost never performed live, rarely included on compilation albums, and often skipped entirely in discussions of the band's history. For casual fans, it's a forgotten footnote. But for die-hard Stones historians, it's a revealing chapter. Proof that even the greatest rock bands sometimes stumble when they stray too far from what they do best. For Mick Jagger, the track is more than just a failed experiment. It's a reminder of a time when the band risked losing their identity in pursuit of trends. And in a way, that's why it's so important. It shows that even a band as iconic as the Rolling Stones had to learn through trial and error. They had to make a cringe-worthy psychedelic jam before they could make a masterpiece like Gimme Shelter. Today, more than 55 years later, Sing This All Together, See What Happens stands as one of the strangest curiosities in the Rolling Stones' legendary catalog. A song Mick Jagger would rather erase, but one that ultimately helped shape the band's destiny. It's a story of ambition, failure, and growth, and proof that even rock royalty isn't immune to creative missteps.